Yeah, I was a little early.
Sounded good over here.
Oh, fine. I have a delay. Okay, I gotta go to Google.
We'll cut this part out.
No, I'll just put a beat to it.
That's bizarre, man. 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 That's bizarre, man.
Still there?
I never left.
We don't know why, but you're listening to Time to Lean, and here's a song with your hosts, John and Phil. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
basically on
pop.
sodas, though, or pop. Now, when I was in Texas for a little while, you couldn't say pop, because that mean if you asked for a pop, they would spank you, or supposedly.
I grew up saying pop.
Well, I think that's kind of a South Dakota thing, isn't it?
And I think at some point I picked up soda
Probably from moving here.
from being in Minnesota. Minnesota pop.
A lot of people don't realize that all of our sodas are a little bit smaller here. They only have 10 ounces instead of 12.
We're smaller.
That's how the state got their name. Is that about it for soda? I mean, what you weren't much of a soda guy. I guess we went and got the mug ups quite a bit.
Oh, I like soda a lot.
Diet Mountain Dew. You were a big
Diet
into
Mountain
for a
Dew
long
is probably my favorite, and it still is. I try not to drink too much of it. If I have anything, that's what I have.
Oh, I'm a Dr. Pepper guy.
I like regular. I just can't quite get behind Diet Dr. Pepper. It doesn't do it for me.
Any diet soda I have an issue with. I don't know.
Diet Mountain Dew, I actually prefer to its sugared counterpart.
Well, yeah, you've always said it tasted less sugary or something.
It's just different, and it doesn't leave that super sugary yuck in your mouth after I don't know. I just have grown to like it better. Like, I think you hear people say that about Diet Coke versus regular Coke.
Sure.
Which I mean, Diet Coke Zero. I really don't like at all, but I know people that do, and they drink it not just because it doesn't have sugar.
Yeah, well then there's Coke Zero, but some people like the regular Diet Coke better.
Oh yeah, there's a big difference, and I much prefer Coke Zero.
I do.
Although they
too.
changed it recently, when it's not as good.
Oh no! Is it
called,
new Coke Zero?
It's called Zero Sugar.
Oh well, maybe they should have had Bill Cosby come back and do their new advertising campaign. New Coke.
No.
Yeah.
New
So
Coke.
if anybody likes soda, go to that blue soda place. Google blue soda, and maybe it'll work.
BlueSunSodaShop.com.
Tonight's episode is not sponsored by.
No, it's not sponsored by anybody yet.
No, although people are listening to it. I mean, we've got some downloads and a couple of random comments. In fact, Phil, do we have any follow up?
I didn't look. I'm trying to remember. Well, no, I mean I looked, but I didn't write it down.
Somebody mentioned that we need some kind of a artwork or logo. Or something like that, and we are working on that.
Yeah, no.
So stay tuned. We'll find something besides the out of cheese or random things leaning up.
Yeah, we're working on that. My brother Blake is an artist, and maybe he'll do one for us. We'll see. If not, I will do a drawing myself. A rough sketch.
Drawing room.
Draw.
And I apologize for my audio quality in the previous episode. My mic had a weird glitch. Or my computer did. I'm not sure, because so far it's not doing it.
Your mic was not communicating to your computer well.
No, they were fighting. They just don't talk anymore, Phil.
It sounds fine today.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to... We talked last time about video games a little bit, or the retro video games and the token wars. And I was wondering, one thing I was thinking about was like favorite video games from back then. And not in the home console, that's a whole different deal, but
arcades.
Yeah. What like when you went to one of these arcades, what was something that you played the most? Do you remember the actual names and stuff?
I don't have a lot of specific memories, although there are a few. I did mention Venture. That was that fantasy-like one that my brother and I used to go play. That's where you go around. It was a little Zelda-like in a way. Original Zelda, where you just go in these rooms and shoot arrows at things, and there's a map where you clear different rooms. And another one that I used to really get into was Elevator Action.
Oh yeah, Elevator Action. Joust, that was good.
Joust, I definitely like Joust. One of the ones I have a lot of fond memories playing at these places is the original Vector Graphics Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
The one where you sit down.
Yeah.
You're flying your X-Wing fighter in the tunnel.
Oh yeah, I remember.
With the little stick graphics. There's weird little badly done samples from the movie where like wheels
We don't even need to put special effects on that.
It's like that.
You did it yourself.
Just flap your lips and sounds like really poorly sampled sound files. But I really like that game, and it had a pretty big screen, and I don't know if that was at the exact. Maybe that wasn't at the Mexican one.
Well,
I
these
get
are
a little
overlapping.
bit blurred.
Well, sure.
They overlap. So those are great. But of course, I've always been a pinball fan as well.
Well, right.
And there is overlap with that too, because some of these places had pinball.
The ones I went to didn't have pinball that I remember. I never played pinball till late, like in college. But do you remember Spy Hunter? That was kind of fun.
I'm glad you mentioned Spy Hunter. That's another great game that, as some of you might know, you can replicate these old games on a modern computer or other console. And Spy Hunter is one of those few games that doesn't translate well. Because
no, it doesn't.
If you recall, Spy Hunter was this game where it's a car driving one. And the original arcade version had a steering wheel and a accelerator pedal like a racing game does, and you drove around in this road, and the best thing about it was you'd come up behind like police cars, whatever, enemy cars, and you could open fire on them and run them off the road, and you could go ahead of them and drop an oil slick and they'd crash.
In order to save money, South Dakota still uses Spy Hunter as a driver's ed simulator to this day.
What were the different weapons? There was like machine gun and a flamethrower.
Machine gun. I don't remember the flamethrower.
No, maybe not.
There was a definitely oil slick.
Smoke screen.
There's
right?
a smoke screen, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Those things, for sure. And I think you could also bump them off the road, too.
Well, I remember that a lot, bumping.
And now, of course, some of the enemy cars were bulletproof or whatever, or you couldn't run them off the road.
Right, like that limo or something.
That limo. There was also the ones that looked like police cars that had the spiky blades that came out of the wheels.
Well, and it would get progressively harder as the farther you went.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. And, of course, when you got to a certain point, this semi-truck would pull out ahead of you and you drove into it, kind of like Knight Rider.
Oh, right. And then you'd get an upgrade or something?
Yeah, something like that if you got
I can't remember what you got from that. Did you get healed or something?
Yeah, or something like that.
Fixed?
Or extra stuff. Yeah, maybe it was a repair. And you got this, and that's how you started, because the truck would pull out of the side of the road and let you out, and then you start the game.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, and the music was either licensed or borrowed from
stolen.
Peter Gunn theme.
Yeah.
It was a great one. Paperboy, I used to like play.
Oh, yeah, I played that a lot. Another one I played a lot was Crystal Caverns. I like that one a lot.
I remember that one. Yeah.
I went through a big Crystal Caverns phase during the Token Wars because you could play for hours, and you'd figure out these tricks. You'd go behind a pyramid or something and hit the button and the jump button or something, and you'd go you'd warp ahead to level 3000 or something. I don't know.
That's a little bit like Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Well,
Welcome to Warp Zone.
Paperboy was really funny though.
That one was it's such a twisted sense of humor too.
No.
Speaking of that similar kind of game, I think that a lot of these from the same period. They're not quite the original like Space Invaders years, but they're a little bit later. Another one that was hilarious was APB. Remember that one?
I remember playing. I remember thinking that was really fun too.
Oh, it's great! Again, it was like you had to wander around in your cop car, pulling people over and giving people tickets, and you'd go into a donut shop, and and the little dispatchers always go, "Donut break."
What were there prostitutes in that game?
I think that was one of the things you could go after. Yeah, it was kind of a pre. What's the game where you go around and do that stuff?
No,
the modern game.
The Crash Test Dummies. No. No. No, I know what you mean.
Come on, Grand Theft Auto is.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they were inspired by that game.
There should have been a Crash Test Dummies video game.
Sounds terrible. Those are great. I definitely played the classics like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, and Space Invaders.
Oh,
original Asteroids.
Miss Pac-Man. Oh, there was another game I played that was sort of by your house. There was a gas station that, before I knew you, on St. Pat in the corner of 5th or something. It had Kick for a while. Do you remember that one? Oh, my God,
I forgot about that game.
That was fun.
I like Kick. I'm still a fan.
Let's see. That was a clown. You were on a unicycle and you'd capture balloons and different things.
The thing about it is that, and I played it on a MAME emulator recently just to see it again. And the thing that's interesting about Kick is that the whole concept of it is really quite different and original.
Yeah.
From any other game I can think of, where you have the balloons and stuff being lobbed at you, and you had to stack them on your head.
Yeah, and then you could get things that would pop them.
And then they would throw in these strange little things like
there was a Pac-Man.
There was the little Pac-Man guys and ghosts would pop randomly out, and you had to collect them.
What were some other weird things in there? Was there birds
bombs,
in that one?
Of course,
bombs, right? There weren't.
And you
birds.
had to dodge those. If you had to catch the Pac-Man characters and the balloons, but you had to avoid the bombs.
And that was another roller one.
Yeah, it had this little circus music that would play in the background.
That was a fun one. Let's see. I think they replaced Kick then with Super Pac-Man, which was pretty fun too, though.
See, I never got into that one. I think after Ms. Pac-Man, that was kind of the end of the line for me.
There was one Pac-Man after Ms. Pac-Man that I liked, and I think it was Super Pac-Man, but I can't remember. I think it was one that you got really, really huge, and you could go through anything, and that was exciting.
And of course, there's the hybrid pinball arcade one. It's Baby Pac-Man.
Right. I played that some.
Is it that or Pac-Man Jr.? I think it's Baby.
What was the one? Well, let's go into pinball in a minute. But what was the video game? Lee and I and a couple other guys. It was a 4-player game we played, and it was a
Gauntlet.
Is that the one that's like Elf needs food badly?
That's a classic.
That was later, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
because you could play. 4 people would play, and
warriors about to die. Shots do not hurt other players yet. So many good. Yeah, a lot of people know that one. It's so famous.
Yeah, that was a good one.
During the Token Wars, they had Dragon's Lair.
Oh,
yeah. Remember Dragon's Lair with it was a Laserdisc cartoon that was linked up to a little computer thing that you would tell the guy where to go in the maze.
If you
picked the wrong way, you died. You died constantly. It was just basically a memorizing patterns thing.
And timing.
Okay, at this tunnel, take a left. And at this one, do a jump. And it was all really fixed. And if you've never heard of this, go on Wikipedia or something and look up Dragon's Lair. But that's one that, once you knew it, you could get through the whole thing in 1/4, but it took forever.
It took a long time to give. I didn't have enough patience to memorize.
No, I never did. And then later on, I saw somebody finish the whole thing because they'd played it so many times and just had memorized the patterns.
That was one of those ones that I didn't mind watching other people play.
No.
But
so
the first time I played that game or saw that game was in Casa Bonita in Denver, Colorado.
Oh yes, which is still around.
I went there many years later with my brothers and my dad. We when I was
in Denver, Colorado.
When I was living with you guys in Laramie, Wyoming for a few months in my tragical misery tour after college. But it wasn't.
We'll
that
have
bad.
a future episode devoted to that.
It wasn't that bad. But anyway, my brothers and my dad drove down and we went to Denver because we'd been there a couple of times when we were kids and the family trips. And Casa Bonita was. It seems so much smaller when you go back as an adult. It basically, just to describe it, I guess, a little bit, was you kind of go into it's like in the corner of a strip mall, sort of, really.
I thought it was built in a former department store or something like that.
I don't know, but I just remember it was in the corner of, like, maybe it wasn't a strip mall, but you go, so on the outside, it's just a kind of little facade, really. And then you go inside, and it was this whole, when you're a kid, was this, once you got through the damn line, it was this huge magical kind of place, and there were gorillas and divers and
yeah, they had cliff divers
and there were little areas where, like, caverns, and you'd walk around to get to different rooms. This was before I knew what Doctor Who was, but it was kind of like the TARDIS. You walk in, and this huge, it was like a dimension, and you entered this other dimension when you went in. As a kid, it felt like that. And but you come back later, and it's it's a lot smaller. But
yeah, and it's this really very mediocre Mexican food.
The food was not very good, but you had to put like, you put a little flag up when, I think it was all you can eat or something, and you put a flag up when you were ready to get another enchilada.
I don't think I've ever been back as an adult. I remember it from band trips.
Yeah.
Especially when I was younger and I was just there with my parents and they were on the trips with the high schools.
Sure.
And I know that was always a popular place to take the bus tours.
Oh, it was fun as a kid.
Yeah, I remember it being really cool.
It was, and they had the prison with the bendy bars and stuff. I don't know. It was fun.
I don't know what the hell my dad ate there, but
maybe he just had a couple of margaritas.
I can't imagine him doing that either. But
no, I know.
Took one for the team. Maybe
they had some carne asada or something.
He didn't eat Mexican food the entire time I knew him. No. That's.
They must have had some other food there too.
No, usually these places, you can order a hamburger or something like that, and
sure.
That's always what he just.
He toughed it out.
Ethnic food, no way, he did not do.
I'm going to get another beverage, and then we should talk about pinball. Do you think?
Perfect. Go for it.
Okay, fine.
Hey, pinball.
'Cause John's a pinball wizard.
Tonight's episode is brought to you by the following sponsor. Underwear slipping?
You noticed?
Try Jiffy Scotch Crotch.
But isn't that impossible to remove?
No, that's original Jiffy Scotch Crotch. This is removable Jiffy Scotch Crotch, reformulated for those people who may choose to remove their underwear.
Oh, well, in that case, let me at it.
That's my boy.
Could you leave the room?
Oh, yes, sorry. Well?
Wow, that's incredible. My underwear isn't slipping anymore, and I feel all tingly.
Really? Oh, yes. Removable Scotch Crotch, available in new Smooth Mint and Fuzzy Bunny.
I'm so happy.
Oh, let's see. You still drinking a Lime and Stormy or Time to Lean? Lime to Lean.
One thing I want to try is the gimlet variant with rum is like a rum Ricky.
Oh, yes.
Well, no. See, okay, I ran out of club soda, and I don't have a soda stream or whatever.
Yep.
So I just put a little LaCroix Pamplemousse.
Oh, that'd work. You didn't have time to go down to the filling station and get some soda.
I could have just left you on hold.
Sorry, my dear mother-in-law is here this weekend, and that's an expression she uses.
The fill-in station?
Filling station, yeah.
Phillips 66. But anyway, if you do that in the time to lime, you can put, if you're out of club soda or whatever, put a little of that in there. But it brings out the pine flavor a little bit more. So some people might not like that, but I don't know. It's nice. It's fine. It's different.
Gets the job done.
Another fun thing to do with gin is just put in some that lemon soda, like a lemon Italian soda or something. Just put some of that in there. Maybe a little club soda too. That's always good. Well, we're going to talk about pinball now, maybe, huh?
Sure. Let's briefly. We can.
Well, you were always a lot better at the pinball games than I was.
And I wasn't, and still not great. I remember playing it a lot as a child, and the machines then were pretty crude. Although they always had great artwork and stuff like that on them.
They made up for it in other ways.
Yeah, totally. And something which I guess it's never too late, but I never really got good at what they call body English.
If you're ever in the Rapid City, South Dakota area and you would like to learn more about body English, please contact Paul.
Yeah.
Of the nudging and all that stuff to
without
really get
tilting
good.
it.
yeah, exactly. To not only do that, but to do it so that the ball will like bounce out of the holes or not go down the side.
Oh, it's like a dance or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of physical things you can do. And that's when you get really good.
But you have to be careful not to look like you're humping the machine.
Right.
There's a fine line. People had to wear cod pieces. No, but, well, I remember, let's see, what was the one that we played a lot, you and Sean and I and maybe other people sometimes, the Star Trek one, right? Was that the Next Generation?
Oh, Next Generation, it's still one of my all-time favorites.
I think that's one of the best ones that was made. Ever.
Yeah,
probably.
Wasn't
it?
Yep, it was kind of in that very late 80s, early 90s golden age of modern pinball machines.
You could get it to do something where like a limo would show up and it would be like graffiti. You got it to do this weird little mode with, I can't remember what it was called. It was a different mode you got it into sometimes.
Phil is referring to the Doho mode. If you pull the gun trigger during the animation shown after hitting the left scoop, when mission select etc. is not lit, you see a different animation with a limo driving by a brick wall with Doho on it. Scott Matrix created the Doho, and it stands for Dois Ho, Scott's wife, no relation to Don Ho.
This machine did have a video mode.
I'm trying to think.
But that's where you fly the shuttle around, and it's a lot like Dragon's Lair, actually. You just pick which tunnel you want to go through before you crash. Yeah, some of them definitely did, because at that time they were putting a lot more computers modes and stuff like that, and they got more sophisticated, so sometimes they would put in these little secret areas and tricks that you could do.
So there was that
was a classic machine.
My favorite pinball machine of all time was Black Knight. I think it was 2000, right?
It was, because there was a Black Knight, just Black Knight,
which was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the Black Knight 2000, that was the one that, God, if you got that thing going, or there was a choir, and it was so encouraging, the nice young lady saying, "You can do it," and a choir, oh!
Maybe you could put a couple of samples in the show here, so people know what you're talking about.
Oh, it was really powerful when you really got it going.
That one had a great soundtrack. And one of the things about Star Trek: The Next Generation, which was true for some of the other games at the time, was that they actually got a bunch of the cast members to record little quotes. There's nothing like Patrick Stewart yelling, "All hands prepare for multi-ball."
No, because then you got ready.
Yeah, and the guy who played Q did some cool stuff, and it was such a great game.
I think that was probably one of the best ones. What were some other ones that did you like that you liked?
Well, in that from that era, I also really liked the Twilight Zone.
I was going to say Twilight Zone.
And Medieval Madness is really fun. Relatively modern ones. A little further back, there used to be this one that I used to play in college, like freshman year all the time, back in Wyoming, which is called Big Guns.
I don't think I ever played that one.
Yeah, go look it up sometime. I think it's 1988 or something like that. No, it's definitely, it's almost a proto Medieval Madness theme.
Huh.
So it's kind of got this, knights and stuff like that, but it's also got a bunch of guys on horses with missile launchers and weird stuff like that. For all I know, it's based on a comic book or something. But
it's like Westworld with bazookas.
A little bit, but not Western though. Like knights.
No. So knights on horses with bazookas.
Yeah, it definitely had a medieval kind of a feel to it, but it also had rockets and stuff.
Odd.
And it had these voices that attack the castle. Almost sounded like that guy from Flash Gordon or something.
Oh, the big guy with the wings. The guy with the wings.
Yeah.
What was his name? That actor. Boy, he was great. His voice.
What was his name? Voltan or something like that? I don't know.
Wrong. Prince Vultan was played by the boisterous British actor Brian Blessed.
So that was a favorite one. I used to really like Taxi. Remember Taxi?
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
There's a place here in the cities that still has a functional taxi machine.
But you haven't been to that Tilt place yet, have you?
No, that's a good reminder. I need to go.
Minneapolis? Yeah,
I
well,
should
then
go
you
before they go out of business.
You wouldn't have to go all the way to St. Paul. We could.
That's right.
I could meet you there.
I bitch about that all the time.
Speaking of going out of business, in last week's episode, or maybe 2 episodes, depending on how this gets edited, but I talked about the Muddy Pig. It was around for it just went out of business. It was really strange.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it was.
They're not going to be able to sponsor us now.
No, I never got around to asking them. No, basically that. So the Muddy Pig in St. Paul, Minnesota, started about 16 years ago, and it was really, really at the forefront of the craft brew. I mean, they had all these taps and all this different kind of stuff going on before other. I don't know. They were kind of ahead of the curve there a little bit. I don't know. I don't know why they went out of business exactly, but it sounds like it's a pretty tough market right now. And
I was wondering also it's one of these deals where the building they were in was sold to put up luxury condominiums or something like that. Or
well, I hope not.
That's happening a lot in these places.
I just got the impression that they had done it for 16 years, and
and I didn't know they'd been open that long either. So that's not a bad run.
No, but it was sad still. I went there. I saw on Instagram they posted that they were, because normally I go on Wednesday and it was Tuesday. I never check Instagram. We don't have a Time to Lean page on Instagram yet, but I just happened to check it and we're going out of business tonight, or we'll be done at...
Yeah, and you went for the last call, right?
Basically. I mean, I didn't stay that long, but...
That's my bedtime.
I stayed later than I normally would on a Tuesday, but okay. Oh. But yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
It was.
I think I went there once with you guys, and it seemed like a cool place.
Well, they had a good whiskey selection too, and different gins and stuff. But they had a lot of taps back before. Now everyone has a lot of taps. But they knew what they were talking about. Mark, I think, was the main guy, and Dawn and Lauren, and I don't know. But anyway, good luck to them wherever they're doing next. I haven't found another stomping ground yet, but the thing I liked about, I'd get there before the rush on Wednesday, and it wasn't quite as noisy. And in fact, there was a woman there that would write her books. She wrote novels there. Now, so I guess that's a bad sign if you can write a book at a bar, but maybe it's probably going to go out of business if it's that quiet. But it got busier later, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
There are some really fun places around here in good old St. Paul. There's I think it's called Tongue in Cheek, and they do a cocktail flight on Phelan, I think it is. And there's another place called Ward 6. Now, maybe these places have gone out of business since I've been there. But there's a little area there that's starting to pick up a little bit. That's north of St. Paul, I think on Phelan there. Could be wrong.
I have to stay home and make a birthday dinner. 'Cause that's
Do
my
you need
wife's
to get
birthday.
started soon?
Not yet. I've got everything prepped. They're at the movies.
I'm at the movies. Are you going to go see Steely Dan?
Boy, I'd like to. I haven't.
I'd only go because he's playing with the Doobie Brothers.
I've seen them 3 times.
haven't
I don't
seen-
think they're
I
playing
haven't-
together, though, are they?
They should. Maybe at the end they'll play God Bless America. Now that would be cool. I would pay to see that.
Okay, maybe I'd pay to see that.
Now Walter Becker's not there though. It's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
There probably aren't tickets anymore. Paul Simon's playing tonight, I think, isn't he?
I knew he was coming.
Well, Paul Simon.
Just speaking of old people, I saw an ad for upcoming Phil Collins concert.
Yeah, no.
And the tour is called the Not Dead Yet Tour.
Well, what happened to him? There's something with his voice or something.
I don't know. I didn't really follow it.
There was some health thing.
He
but,
must be back.
Well, I think they're going to do Lamb Lies Down on Broadway in its entirety.
Oh, no.
No.
I'll pass on that.
That was... We haven't talked about music much, but we're both really into music. But Lamb Lies Down on Broadway was... of course, that was Genesis with Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins. But that was... When I first heard that, I just couldn't... I couldn't get it. It didn't make any sense to me. I couldn't associate with it in any way. But somehow, I listened to it more and more and more, and it really grew on me. But you don't like it?
Oh, no, I just don't really want to see Phil Collins perform it live.
No, not without everybody else. I don't need to see anybody play that album live.
No, I think it's good. It's kind of an artifact of its time, but no, there's some great stuff on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a great prog rock kind of drug fueled crazy shit. I always get the impression that you're kind of just listening to it. You're kind of missing, like Peter Gabriel was doing some crazy visual stuff that should have gone along with it.
when I've only ever seen a tiny bit of what he was doing visually on video or something, but I don't know. It grew on me. I guess I went through a Lamb phase. I guess you'd say. I didn't.
I think it's one of their better ones.
I didn't listen to it as much as maybe like Pink Floyd's Animals or something, but that was another thing. That album I heard you hear about bands or whatever, and so this was in high school, and a girlfriend at the time, she had older brothers, and I went into one of their rooms. There's all these LPs on the floor. It was not. You would not have been happy with the way they were treating their LPs. But I was like, oh, can I borrow this? And I talked to her brother into lending it to me, and I skipped Sunday school to listen to Animals for the first time. and that, it's like, because I thought I was going to be a pastor or whatever, and
so that made you skip church to listen to Pink Floyd.
No, but I felt guilty. What I'm trying to get at is I felt guilty for skipping Sunday school. And you listen to this album, Animals by Pink Floyd, and it's got some religious things going on. The Lord is my shepherd and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. People are like, oh, you need to be on X drug when you listen to that or whatever. But I was totally without any drugs, just listening to that. The only other time I skipped Sunday school was to watch professional wrestling back in the 80s, but I don't think that's something you and I could talk about. Do you remember the golden age of wrestling, John?
I was stoned. No,
that's something I'd more
maybe you and Sean can discuss that.
He doesn't know either. My brothers and I would talk about that. We'll have Blake as a guest or Brett.
One of your brothers can be a future guest, and we'll have a deep dive on that. No, so you went to Sunday school.
A lot,
What kind of a church did you go to? Lutheran?
It was Lutheran. It was one of the more conservative synods. It was the Missouri Synod.
Oh, those guys are fucking nuts.
No. There's one that's even
Oh, I know. We had some family friends that belonged to one of those, and I just heard the yuck.
No, there's one that's worse. But and I could be wrong. That was a long time ago, even. But it was
They're a big tent.
It was a pretty conservative Lutheran. I guess you'd say Catholic light. You know. But
Is this a church that one of your parents belonged to?
we went to. I mean, my dad never went, but we it was a family church. It was not that far from our house.
Okay, so your mom took you and your brothers to church.
Let's see. It was Peace Lutheran. Yeah.
Well, how can it be that bad with that name?
No, it was peaceful. But we had a really good
Unless
pastor.
you skipped.
When I was a kid, we had a really good pastor, Pastor Dan, and he played guitar and singing stuff. And I even went to church without my family sometimes. I'd ride my bike and go to church. Yeah, I was going to be a pastor for a while there.
But it didn't take though.
No, well, there was some sort of falling out, and something got political at the church. And I decided...
Don't they all get political in some way?
Well, I was like, I don't understand why politics and the gossipy intrigue or whatever was going on.
Now, to be clear, when you say political, you mean the politics of the church.
Yes.
People, not like politics, Republicans and Democrats, that kind of thing. Okay, got it.
I'm guessing there. I don't remember ever talking about that kind of stuff there, but because at these churches, it isn't just the pastor that's in charge. There's the board or whatever, and I don't know. I lost faith, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you were disillusioned,
right? And it's like, why does that have to enter into this at all? Why does that have to enter into church? You know, we're going to church.
Well, I think it goes with the territory, though. It's a
it does.
Group of people. And that's human nature. This stuff just kind of tags along for the ride.
Anytime you get a group of people together, there's going to be
power struggles and other things, and I think it's really hard to avoid.
No, it's impossible.
Maybe if you went to the Unitarian place, maybe they don't have as much of it.
Well, maybe they probably argue about other things that I can't even imagine. Because people just have to... There's always somebody.
There's got to be conflict.
Or there's a few people that I don't like this, or we shouldn't have this kind of orange drink. We should have grape drink, and it becomes a big deal.
Here's the song!
We shouldn't have this kind of orange drink. We should have grape drink. We shouldn't have this kind of orange drink. We should have grape drink. We shouldn't have this kind of orange drink. We should have grape drink. We shouldn't have this kind of orange drink. We should have grape drink.
Orange juice and grape, Kool-Aid, these are the drinks the church ladies made. Weak coffee, strong words. Someone took an extra cookie. Probably one of those shifty shepherds. What would Jesus do? Turn that cookie into two? Turn that coffee into wine? What's mine is yours, not what's yours is mine. Jesus doesn't care what you wear to church, so you may as well come down from your perfectionist perch. Orange juice, grape Kool-Aid, these are the drinks that the church ladies made. Weak coffee and strong words.